is Carlton for the Central Region.
6 o'clock on Thursday, the 25th of April. Good evening. Welcome to Central News at 6.
The Midlands' top story tonight. A grandfather is gunned down in front of his wife.
He's shot dead on his doorstep in what police say is a cold-blooded killing.
The award-winning team, live from Birmingham, this is Central News at 6.
Catholic priest on child porn charges.
Prime Minister's message for the Midlands.
And the changing face of phone boxes.
We start tonight with news of a murder that's shocked everyone. A 69-year-old grandfather has been shot dead in front of his wife in a quiet suburban street. He just returned home after picking her up from work.
He was killed by a single shot fired by a lone gunman who'd parked his getaway car in the street where the couple lived. Well, Mark Goff is at the scene of the murder in Rugby. Mark, it's a terrible crime. Police have described this as a cold-blooded killing.
They have indeed, and rightly so. Terry Morgan was killed with a single shot to the chest, fired at close range, the gunman racing off to
of Gemma and her family. Joel Hills, Central News.
We're on the campaign trail now. The Prime Minister and other senior politicians have been in the Midlands to urge people to vote in next week's local elections. They say democracy doesn't work if people don't vote. Steve Keeling has been following them.
Tony Blair came to the Hodge Hill part of Birmingham to talk about crime. Residents on the Glebe Farm estate have been on the receiving end.
Years ago we used to get broken into when we were shot in the middle of the night. Now we're afraid of getting broken into when we're open.
They wanted to know what the Prime
Minister... That is a matter of toughening and tightening the law, and that we intend to do as well.
Apathy stalks this election. Only 1 in 4 are expected to vote.
The state of the streets, the rubbish collection, street lighting, graffiti, all of these issues, as well as of course, as central issues like education and social services. So I think it is important for people to go out and vote, and I do see that Conservative councils are providing a better quality of life and solutions to local needs, where Labour and Liberal Democrat controlled councils aren't.
In another development regarding the local elections, the region's Anglican bishops, all 11 of them, have issued a joint statement. They say the British National Party and the National Front are misusing the Christian message in their policies on race and asylum seekers. Generating interest, even if it's in opposition, is now firmly on all parts. Steve Keeling, Central News.
Now, on his way to the West Midlands, Mr. Blair spoke exclusively to our political editor, Peter Hayes. Peter's now back in London. Peter, the government's admitted that they haven't delivered on public services, so what did the Prime Minister have to say for himself?
Well, you know, Bob, sometimes an expression tells you much more than words. And when I reminded the Prime Minister of the fearful ear-bashing he got from Sharon Storer during the election campaign, if you remember, at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, well, his roof...
Enough. Well said, Peter. Thanks very much.
Oh, my.
In fact, he's probably, Bob, the only person to have more expensive ties than you.
True enough. Well said, Peter. Thanks very much.
Well, Mark, you always wear nice ties, don't you? But I have to pull you up on one thing from last night. Apparently, that young the goalkeeper who scored the goal, it was in fact a goal. You weren't sure last night.
Did someone say he didn't?
You said you weren't sure. No, don't look at Bob, it was you.
Pushing on, Kidderminster Harriers have appointed only their 4th manager in 19 years by naming Ian Britton as successor to Jan Molby. Today, he was getting a feel for life in the hot seat. And finally, a reminder to join us here on Central News tomorrow night for a comprehensive look forward to the weekend's playoff action. West Brom, of course, don't have to worry about that. They're already in the Premiership, and I'll be reporting live from their open-top bus parade tomorrow night, if I can get a ticket, of course. On Soccer Sunday, of course, this weekend, lots of action coming up on ITV. The sport channel it starts with will bring you Birmingham City versus Millwall. That kicks off at noon. And then at 2:30, it's Wolves' trip to Carrow Road. Soccer Sunday, you can see all the highlights of those games and Stoke City's clash with Cardiff in Soccer Sunday, 6:10 right here.
So you need to check your rule book about who scores the goal.
I think it's bombs. I just think it's the bombs is from the 1940s. Sorry, Mum.
So a goalie kicking a ball into the goal.
Yeah, what I didn't realise was...
Oh, actually, sorry, Mark. My mobile phone. Hello?
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's the director. Says you've got to check the rule, but we've got to carry on. Hey.
There you go then.
Sorry,
right.
Mark.
What did we do?
What did we do before mobile phones, Bob?
Yeah, it's hard to imagine life without them, isn't it? Once upon a time, of course, we relied on simple old phone boxes.
Yeah, they came in all shapes and sizes, and the largest collection of them in the world opened today. Elizabeth O'Reilly was there.
When all the phones start to ring, it can get a bit busy at the same way. But at least they know now that mobile phones aren't the only way to talk and travel at the same time. Elizabeth O'Reilly, Central News.
When I was a kid, you never passed the telephone box without press button B.
What did that do?
Return the coins.
Ah.
Yeah. Time to look now at the weather as we head towards the weekend. Joanna has the details.
Thanks, Bob. Well, sadly, the weather is now becoming a little more unstable. Showers at times for tomorrow, and although Saturday is looking all right, Sunday could be a little bit dodgy. Tonight we'll see an occluded front marching in from the Atlantic, and it'll bring with it some cloud and rain, although the first half of the night should stay dry, and we see lows of around 7 or 8. Tomorrow morning, some of that overnight rain could hang on in there, but it will be a generally brightening scenario with some sunny spells coming through. Tomorrow afternoon, though, the winds are going to pick up and switch around to a northwesterly direction, which means that just about anywhere in the region could catch a blustery shower or two. There should be some sunny spells as well, though. Feeling quite cool at 13 or 14. And in terms of the outlook, Saturday will look okay with sunny spells, but it will feel cool. And finally, in summary, cloud and rain tonight, blustery showers and sunny spells tomorrow.
Let's go on the road again. Now, I seem to remember you were in a steam train. You've tried steam power now, haven't you?
Yes, but this time I've left the tracks and I'm out on the open road. Watch out, Staffordshire, Malin's on the move again. My mission today is to drive this lovely old 12-ton steamroller. She was commissioned back in 1923 by Kenilworth Urban District Council, hence her name, Kenilworth. And since 1964 she's been owned by enthusiasts. Today she's owned by Tony Wilson up here in the little village of Colesden Low in Staffordshire. Now Tony, you wrote to me after you saw me on the footplate of the Severn Valley Railway train. You said this is going to be more difficult. Why?
Well, it's really a two-man job. We have one person to steer it and the other one to drive it, to control the machinery and above all to manage the boiler, the fire level and the water level. The hills that we encounter are steeper than on railways, and the water level really needs to be watched and anticipated a little bit more than they have to, but let's give it a go.
Do you think I'm going to be able to do this?
Yes, of course.
Oh, I love a man that has faith in me. Now, you've suggested we're going to go down to the local pub and back.
That's
and
right.
I'm going to steer on the way down and drive on the way back.
You're going to have a go on the way back.
Okay,
I'm sure you'll manage it.
I'm going to get up first. Then here we go. Let's give it a go.
Luckily, Tony wasn't put off by my first effort, pulling out of his drive and straight onto the opposite curb. Then very quickly I learnt a very important lesson. When moving a steamroller off the curb, it is essential to hang on. After my slightly shaky start, I soon got the feel for the steering, and we were on our way to the yew tree.
I love that. I know.
It takes quite a while to get anywhere in a steamroller, but eventually we arrived at the pub. And after replenishing my water levels with half a pint of the local brew and stoking the steam engine, it was time for the return journey. This time I'm driving, keeping an eye on the pressure gauge, the water level and the speed, of course, and Luke, another steam enthusiast, is taking charge of the steering. Due to the fact that I found it difficult to control the accelerator lever, I managed to push Kenilworth to the limit. But for a lady of almost 80, she's in great shape.
Point into mid-gear now.
There you go. Home safe and sound.
How was that, Joanne? The driving a little bit more exciting?
I feel I may have a few beauty spots that I didn't have before on my face. But it was great fun. Thank you very much. Thanks, Luke, for looking after me.
Time for us all to go. Good night.
Bye-bye. Walk over.
As Crown Prosecutor, she's 100% committed.
Abby, Carter and Lewis, that's in ER in just half an hour. First though, it's time to face the music, Joey.